The day Chinese President Xi Jinping landed in the troubled Xinjiang autonomous region in the northwest of China, Bihar police busted a radical ring of Muslim youth in Phulwari Sharif that was training for a jihad aimed at converting India into an Islamic nation by 2047, country's centenary of independence. Also, the same day, a video went viral of public namaz being offered at a newly inaugurated shopping mall in the capital city of Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. On the face of it, the events are seemingly as unconnected as North and South poles, but I'll try to show an axis that runs through them. Xinjiang is facing an ethnic Uyghur insurgency which the Chinese state has cracked down on with a heavy hand. No prisoners taken, or taken in millions and herded in reformation camps. Like that Surya bulb ad of my generation would say, "Sare ghar ke badal dalunga," whichever way you look at it. Capping his visit after 4 days, Jinping made an important comment. He said, and I quote, "Islam in China must be Chinese in orientation and religions in the country should adopt to the socialist society," unquote. A state-run Xinhua news agency quoted him as saying that enhanced efforts should be made to ensure that the normal religious needs of believers should be united closely around the party and the government. She called for educating people in Xinjiang to strengthen their identification with the Chinese culture, Chinese motherland, and the Chinese nation. There is a background to this visit of Xi to the volatile region. The last time Chinese Premier came here was 8 years ago in 2014, having freshly taken over the reins of China. There was a frenzy of terror attacks carried out by Uyghur militants, not only in Xinjiang but in Chinese mainland, also killing hundreds. A week ahead of his visit, Uyghur militants had carried out a mass knifing frenzy at a railway station in southwest of China, killing 31 and injuring 150. On the day he was leaving Urumqi, the provincial capital, a bombing in town, again by Uyghur insurgents, killed one and injured many. She must have gone back with some thoughts on the challenge that was thrown at him by the Islamists. Over the next few years, Xinjiang saw tightening of policies that began with the phasing out of affirmative action for Uyghurs, a general crackdown on public display of any separatism, mass incarcerations in camps which the Chinese called training centers for Sinicization. The crackdown included tapering tolerance policy on construction of mosques and shrines, withdrawal of relaxation to Uyghur women on birth control measures, and put Uyghur Muslim children compulsorily in government-run boarding schools with state-sponsored curricula. While the West slams these repressive measures as cultural genocide, the results are for all to see. She spent 4 days from July 13 to 16 in the province this time with not one law and order incident. This tough love has clearly worked. Why I say tough love? Urumqi is a provincial capital and has an international airport more modern than Delhi or Mumbai. I myself got to see it while in transit from Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan to New Delhi via Urumqi and Guangzhou in 2019. The town outside the airport, which we could go out to see, had a very European feel to it. So a kind of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas or Kanoon Ka Haath strategy that has paid dividends. More of it later. Now, what's the connection of Xi and Xinjiang with Phulwari Sharif module, you would ask? The accused in the Phulwari Sharif case are young men, highly radicalized by an increasingly dangerous cocktail of online religious education, a rabid ideology of separatism, and more importantly, enemy support from across the border from Pakistan. All accused are associated with the Popular Front of India, an organization under the rudder of security agencies for hundreds of incidents of Islamist violence and hate crimes across the country. PFI is known to draw its inspiration from organizations like the Popular Front of Palestine and the Muslim Brotherhood. From what has come out of the preliminary police investigation, the radicals were preparing for a long-drawn violence-based action called direct jihad to harm the social fabric of the country. Just to give you an idea of how extreme these elements are, the WhatsApp chats show they find an outright community-centric party like the AIMIM useless for their purposes. They believe in armed struggle to change India's face into an Islamic nation called Ghazwa-e-Hind, war on India, with the ultimate objective of turning it into a Darul Islam. One of the accused is in fact the brother of a convict of the failed terror plot to kill Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2013 when the bombs had exploded in his campaign rally in Patna's Gandhi Maidan, killing 6 and injuring over 100. How dangerously close they were to attaining their objectives can be gauged from the fact that one bomb was found and removed from under the dais just an hour before then Prime Ministerial candidate Modi was to deliver his speech. Now, coming to the Lucknow episode. The shopping mall is owned by Abu Dhabi-based Lulu Group, which has similar operations spread across the country and the Middle East. Its owner, M.A. Yusuf Ali, is a proud Indian origin entrepreneur, originally from Kerala, who made it to the big league in the United Arab Emirates, starting from the streets of Ahmedabad sometime in 1970s. I happened to meet him at his Abu Dhabi headquarters in 2015 during Prime Minister Modi's visit there. While interviewing him, his phone started ringing. I stopped the interview to let him take the call. He said this was azan playing as it was namaz time. In the UAE, no loudspeakers are allowed atop mosques. The government has instead developed an app which Muslim citizens download on their phones. At the time of prayers, the app gets automatically activated with the azan, and those wanting to join in the prayers can do so from wherever they are or at the nearest mosque. Imagine, no loudspeaker issue in a Muslim country, while in India we had a change of government in Maharashtra triggered by the same loudspeaker atop mosques controversy last month. Like she took to the challenge in Xinjiang head-on, working on development and cultural assimilation parallelly. The Modi government needs to do it here in India as well. From the hand-chopping of Professor T.J. Joseph in Kerala to the funding connection in the killing of Umesh Kole in Amravati, there is enough evidence available with the agencies now to ban PFI and its affiliate organizations. Equally importantly, India needs a national project of retrieving and strengthening an Indian Islam that is syncretic and takes ownership and pride in its Indian roots. For the 200 million plus Muslims of India, their spiritual inspiration might have come from the sands of Arabia, but their civilizational DNA is more than 5 millennia old. It's a rich heritage which can make any society proud. In the same meeting in 2015 in Abu Dhabi, Yusuf Ali went on to tell me that the Friday sermons across the mosques in UAE are sent by the government and that the imams who lead the Jummah prayers do not have the freedom to go beyond the one-page Sarkari scripture. Authorities in much of the Arab world have realized the harm a certain version of Islam that spread over the last 4 decades has done to the region and the world. Immense reform and corrective measures have been put in place over the last decade by strong leaders like Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Abu Dhabi's Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. They are in fact now more concerned about a reverse radicalism coming from Muslim religious leaders coming from the subcontinent and are taking countermeasures. Indian Muslim youth needs to know this, even as the Indian state has to act, not necessarily with measures borrowed from Xi and Xinjiang. A beginning can at least be made with the NCERT books. Thanks for watching.